Squat Club were fucking awesome, weren't they?
They were very wild with their everything, instrumentation, direction. Their whole sound was incredible, and Birds Robe is better for having them in it.
Oh my God, Squat Club. Oh. What an incredible band. Just an incredible band. Amazing people to hang out with.
Squat Club were a big inspiration for me. A couple of my very close friends play in that band. And I think another band that kind of redefined the boundaries of what's possible in music. Can you bring a bouzouki on stage and play a 10-minute prog song with it? Apparently you can. Apparently it's okay. Can you overlay that with strange electronic sounds and live audio manipulation? Apparently you're allowed to. It was really exciting as a musician seeing that band.
Yeah, the best. The best? It's the best. It's the best out of the Birds Robe. I just can't. I just want to see him again, and I want them all to come back together. I just can't. I hate it when that happens. But they all, want to go someone different. But they musically, they just challenge everything I thought with prog and stuff like that. So yeah.
As weird as it sounds, I reckon Squat Club helped me be a better musician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. The drumming, the rhythms, all the metric stuff, just phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Squat Club, possibly the best band from Sydney of all time. The first time I saw them play, it was like, hey, come check these guys out. You'll find this interesting. Saw them and was like, well, I guess I can not miss another one of their shows. And I don't think I did miss one of their shows until they, disbanded for a time. And I am unbelievably pumped to see them at the end of the year.
I love those guys. I was actually hanging out with 10K, aka Tom Gilmore, recently, and we spun Squat Club together and listened to the record only a couple of months ago. It's total unsung classic in my ears. And the opportunity I got to see those guys live, they were doing just something so exciting and unprecedented. It's almost like they kind of prefigured what was going to become Gent, except they did it in a way that was a million times more interesting and adventurous than any Gent band that would come after them.
Yeah. Crazy, interesting band. Yeah.
Probably my favorite band on this list. Probably my favorite Birds Robe release, Corvus. I'd have to think about it, but that's the one that feels like the one. Probably my favorite shows that we put on as well.
Past continuous tense or past simple?
Past continuous.
That's me, the English teacher. Okay.
I want to hear you go first because I want to hear this past continuous tense. Off you go.
Okay, yeah, I'm Evan.
Talk to me as well.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm Evan, and I was the drummer in Squat Club. Not to imply that there was a drummer after me. No, I was the first and last drummer of Squat Club. And I also made terrible cupcakes as a separate thing.
Side project.
Yeah, side project.
Yeah,
exactly.
They weren't that bad.
Thanks, man. This
They're
is why
okay.
we got you in the band.
Mostly shit, but okay.
Yeah, okay, don't dig too far.
So okay, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Cool. Tim Brown. I played bouzouki and guitar and sampled many cupcakes that Evan gave me. But other than that, that was what we did. You were drums, and I played stringy stuff, and we had 2 other members, Josh Ahern.
I guess we should talk.
We should
mention
talk. We
the
should
other
mention
two.
that unfortunately couldn't be here.
Yep.
But Josh Ahern, who played bass.
Lampy.
Well, we use his proper
AKA
name,
Lampy.
AKA Lampy.
Yep.
And Josh Head, AKA Good One, who played baritone, guitar.
Yeah, baritone
and
guitar.
other sampley things that you would hear
lots
on.
of electronics and
Yeah.
samples and MIDI guitar at some
MIDI
point.
guitar,
as well, right?
yeah.
Added that extra weird electronic layer to the already strange concoction. Proto-funk. No, go on.
The band that we came out of from before Squat Club was like 3-minute, not pop songs, but like, you know, abacab-based things. So our reaction to that was do the opposite of that. So that's the music that we played, the opposite of doing verse, chorus, Whitley solo, outro stuff. So I guess it would be classified as experimental, but really we just played whatever came to mind, which just happened to be not abacab stuff.
So, I think when we started, we were like, I think around the time that it started, really, I remember being really influenced by like Mars Volta's early albums. I think we were listening to a lot of that at the time. And lots of Tool, we were listening to lots of Tool.
Secret Chiefs 3.
Secret Chiefs 3, Meshuggah was a big influence at that time.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we just tried to take the bits that we could out of those and like blend them into a weird mixed bag. And as Tim said, it's like we were both doing this kind of like pop. It was weird pop, but it was still confined, right, into like shorter structures and things like that. So we just wanted to also include like lots of long kind of improvisational passages as well. So it was kind of like, a mix of those influences, but like doing our thing in an improvisational sort of way as well. Like rather than, being very set in like, we do this and then we go to this. We wanted to, I think that is something that was quite special about Squad Club, was that like we would have really written parts, and then we'd have one section where we don't really know what's going to happen in this section. We just know that it gets here, and we kind of go through whatever improvisations, and once we get to that bit, then we change into the next section kind of thing. So proto-funk.
That genre, yeah.
Yeah. So the original thing was Tim and I used to play in this this band called the Mabobs, which was like the weird, funky kind of experimental pop thing, right? And then at the end of that, so I think it was about 2005, Tim got a bouzouki, right? So what happened with the bouzouki?
Just bouzouki. I used to work for Fender, and they had a bouzouki. I like Secret Chiefs 3. Made sense, to own that instrument. It's an Irish bouzouki for those who are interested in that. Even though, Secret Chiefs 3 have little to no Irish influence in their music at all. But I just thought, it's a funny looking thing that's, from a Western background. I'll buy one of them, and then I just started mucking around with it.
And is that right?
Also, really quickly, it might be worth just thinking for the sake of the doco, just describing what it is.
A bouzouki, 8-stringed, an Irish bouzouki is an 8-stringed instrument that is like a 12-string guitar, but with 8, so it's four notes, but all in unison. So the
octaves, aren't they?
No. 2 of them are octaves and 2 of them are in unison, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I picked it up, actually. We'll do that in the car too on the way home.
We'll figure out what your instrument was.
Yeah. But no, I just bought one of them. Yeah, like Ev said, we were in a pop. It wasn't a pop band. We played
pop elements.
Yeah,
for sure,
it's for sure, but it was.
It was weird pop.
And we had been jamming, so I know you from high school. We didn't go to the same school, but you had friends,
mutual friends
and who told me, hey, you play guitar, Tim, you should meet this really, really normal guy called Evan. He lives in Bonnet Bay, and I did, and we kicked it off straight away with just our...
What was he like?
Who? That guy?
A normal guy.
A bit boring.
Yeah,
then I met you, and whoo-hoo, hold on to your hats. Then we just started jamming. We had a band called Unself,
Yeah, it started
a
as
really
Unself.
dreadful Mudvayne new metal style band.
And it was.
And you think we're joking about that? We're not.
The funny thing is, you remember we used to rehearse by. I mean, I apparently was the drummer in the band, but I think I barely ever played drums in this band. We often rehearsed down at our local tennis courts with you, just acoustic guitar, and me tapping
Lakewood.
on the table. And I also decided at that point that I would be the singer in the band. Do you remember this?
I do remember this.
And I even wrote vocal parts and all of these things that thankfully never happened, because it turns out I'm not a good singer. And also, but Tim was amazingly tolerant of that for a while, me singing. And then I think at some point you were like, Evan, I don't think you can sing, man. And I was like, yeah, I think you're right.
Why don't we try something else?
But after that, we got more and more into, like, while all this was happening, we're just getting deep into all of the progressive stuff, like as we said before, Mars Volta, Tool, all this stuff.
But then also being in this, pop-esque band that we wrote, you know, we had an album and an EP. Is that right?
Yeah.
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 And
the last EP was about 2005, and that's when we started doing the Squat Club.
Yes, so because then the pop thing ended, and then we thought, well, the opposite of that is 15-minute long jammy songs.
But I think
and then
the thing was, you mentioned this before when we went into one of our first rehearsals after that band, and you brought the bouzouki. And it was just like, but I think that having the bouzouki, even though that was only in one of our total of 5 songs, I think. Right, even though they're really long songs, but we had 5 songs. It was only one song, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of was our sound in a way, which is funny that it wasn't the majority of the material, but it became the kind of like benchmark sound.
And the vibe too, because
the sound of the bouzouki has a really unique sound, especially through your crazy effects and everything.
Well, because that was the second song then that we did. The first one was Beehive Cluster, and the second song was Reticulum.
Yeah. Which was so different, because it's like what were you using at the time? Probably a Fender.
But no, a GT.
Oh, and running
6 effects
Boss effects,
which sounded. Yeah, but the effects in there were like just weird and had their
bizarre,
own unique sounds.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And the name Squat Club was the other thing I was going to mention was, it's funny that I remember a couple of years later, I think somebody was talking about it, and someone was like, "Oh, Squat Club." So like, that obviously came from like warehouses, squatting in warehouses, living in warehouses, and it's like, no, not at all. It's just like totally stupid and random. Like, it's funny because we were playing we did play some gigs in warehouses, so I can. I lived in a warehouse at the time, so I can see how some people might have made that connection. People assumed that we were Squat Club, but actually, it was just a friend of mine randomly at a pub once. I remember somebody else joined us, and this friend of mine, Steve, or Snake, we used to,
Snake, yeah.
He just was very much like just freaking people out. So he was just telling this story to this other random person, like, "Oh yeah, my dad's in a squat club," and they're like, "What's a squat club?" And he said, "Oh, my dad and his mates, they just meet together, and it's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's like Squatters Anonymous, and they just get into a room, and sometimes it's with the lights on, sometimes it's with the lights off, and they just squat. They just squat for hours." And it's Squat Club.
I forgot that.
And after that was like, and I think I told you that story, and you were like, "Great, Squat Club. That's it." And that's,
well, what else could it be, really? I mean, after that.
Yeah, after that. You can't say no to that.
No.
So that's where Squat Club came from. So, what was the last thing I said? Oh yeah, so
Squat Club name.
The Squat Club name, and then once we were like, we're Squat Club, we did maybe 1 or 2 gigs, I can't remember, as a 2-piece. With the first gig we actually did as a 2-piece with our 2 songs, which were about 10 or 15 minutes each. So we had Beehive Cluster and Reticulum, the bouzouki one, and then the guitar weird.
Which we did at Northwood Warehouse,
which is where I lived,
with Brian Compo, where we ended up playing Patience at the end of the night. Do you remember that?
I vaguely remember. I think there was a lot of drinking at that warehouse.
Yeah, I'm sure I played. Whistled and played bouzouki. It was like bouzouki or guitar, I can't remember, but
that does ring a bell
with Compo playing Patience.
What a way to play the first Squat Club.
Well, it's never been played.
It's never been. Did I play Patience?
No, but I think you sung, especially the little.
There you go.
It was like at the end, I'm sure you joined in.
That was me wanting to get Unself going again. That was with me as a singer. That was my cue.
Yeah,
you didn't pick up on it.
Yeah, and then it never really eventuated. Therefore, the sign was you can't really sing because clearly I can. Yeah. But then so that
was the first gig, and then we did a gig at Hopeton. Good old Hopeton, and that was where we got Lampy before he had officially joined the band just came to check us out just because, yeah. Is that the same?
Do I really want to be involved with these two?
Do I really want to be?
Yeah.
It was the screener, more not for us screening him, for him.
Oh, screening us.
To
Yeah,
see
yeah.
if he could tolerate us.
100%.
Turns out he could, for a short time. But yeah, Lamp got in touch via MySpace, which is hilarious. I think just now thinking back to that time, everyone's doing MySpace.
Top
and
10
stuff.
friends, Lamp.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember he sent us a message because we were looking for a bass player, and somehow he found out about us through someone else and said, yeah, you like what you guys do, can I come and have a jam? And he came to a gig first at Hopeton, which was like probably our first actual venue gig, I believe.
Probably.
And then, yeah, and then after that, so I was trying to figure it out. It's maybe late 2007 or it's in 2008 that we did our first gig with Lamp. And then by that time, we'd also recruited the fourth member, Josh Head, as well.
That's purely you, so you tell
yeah,
how
so
the
at
good
that
one
same
got in.
time, I mean, I was doing an insane amount of bands at that time. I was doing, like, I think 4 different bands. But that was partly because a friend of mine who was a drummer suddenly kind of quit drumming to pursue a solo career. And I just took 2 of his bands over. So one of them was a band called Captain's Package, and I kept playing in that as under Captains. Good name. It was a good name. We changed it to Captains, which is nowhere near as good as Captain's Package.
Just laughing at the story that we were talking about the other day, where you were playing a gig with Captain's Package, and I tried to throw a cup at you, and I instead hit the female keyboard player in the head, and everyone stopped, and I was like, oh, it's completely drunk, and went up to apologise, gave her a hug, and then as I left, I ripped her keyboard off the stand. Yeah,
that
was one of those
slapstick.
Yeah,
kind of, but could that have been a Birds Robe gig?
That was probably that was most certainly
that might have been the Featherfest, which was the last one before when it was because I think that's when
it was
I got,
at the
like, the 4
Lansdowne.
bands I was playing in.
No, it was at the Lansdowne.
Was at the Lansdowne.
Yeah.
But anyways, so
you were playing in a bunch of bands, and then
yeah. So one of them was a band called Sherlow, and the other guitarist in that band was this guy Josh Head, who's the crazy kind of like electronic genius. And I think I showed him what Tim and I were doing, like it's the demo, and he was like, "This is awesome. Can I join the band?" And I was like, "Sure." It was just funny in those days how like I feel like I was way more just relaxed about who was in the band and who was like. It just didn't really. I don't know. It was weird. Even though we took the songwriting quite seriously in a sense, I was for some reason I was just kind of like anyone who wanted to be in the band could be in the band. So.
Well, we got
turned out alright. I think
it did.
I mean, after I let you in the band.
Well,
So, what happened after that? Yeah, so we did a couple of gigs. Basically, as soon as we sort of had our lineup of the 4-piece, after maybe 2 gigs as a 2-piece, like 1 or 2, as soon as we had our 4-piece, then it was like we got involved with Birds Robe. I remember, I don't know exactly how that happened, but it was probably via MySpace. After us handing out CDs at Mars Volta, getting in touch with Alex and then Mike, and once they start.
But what CD was that? Was that couldn't have been Corvus? That must have been something that we. When we used to record things with your little desktop mic thing you had plugged into your computer.
Quality was so lo-fi.
People would pay a shitload of money to have that sound now.
It's a
thing. It will be for sure. It's a plugin.
VST plugin. Yeah. I'm going to make lots of money.
But then
so that's right. The CD that I think Alex and Mike got their hands on was just a really dodgy demo. It was definitely way pre-Corvus, right? But once we started getting involved with them, we did a bunch of gigs, and then it would have been we recorded Corvus, our only album, in about, it's probably sometime in 2008, 2009. So the whole thing was really short-lived. It was kind of like proper gigs at venues with Birds Robe, sometime I think in 2008, but we did a bunch of them, like maybe 5 or 6 in half a year. Like it was quite a lot for us at the time.
I'd say mostly self-sufficient, but at the same time, the scene that we were all in, the music scene, was so tight-knit. Kind of everyone was playing with everyone and helping each other out, and not like we never really had a manager, did we?
Yeah, no.
It's probably why we broke up.
But we should have been more corporate.
Yeah, we should have. But I mean, we certainly had help from like people like Mike and Birds Robe and other, who I can't even remember, other, not promoters, but just people that just ran venues and that we, helped us out with gigs. But
more or less, it was pretty much Mike that like helped us get that first foot in the door. So
pretty much.
Right? We were otherwise just doing it ourselves. We were trying to book some gigs ourselves. But then, more or less, like, I remember we went to Mars Volta in 2007, I think it was, and I was handing out some CDs. We were handing out CDs when we were trying to find a bass player, and then Alex from Super Florence Jam and Birds Robe, he contacted me and was like, "Hey, I really like what you guys are doing," and then from there, I think Mike or Alex contacted us later and started booking us some gigs. So apart from that, we were just doing it ourselves, and then we were together for such a short time. It was really only like between 6 months and a year that we were doing gigs. And most of those gigs were booked through Birds Robe, which is great. So we were just really stoked for Mike to help us out with that, and Alex. Yeah, well, as I mentioned before, it was basically just, meeting Birds Robe was just through MySpace, I believe. Yeah, so I'd given out these CDs at the Mars Volta gig, trying to get our music out there a bit. Good old CDs. Days of CDs, and I think we were trying to find a bass player, but Alex got in touch and was just saying, "Hey, we've got this Birds Robe thing going on," and we were just like, "Sure, great, you want to give us a gig? We're more than happy to." And it was awesome because straight away it was like, wow, we've kind of like found our people almost without, we didn't have to go through the kind of like arduous process of playing at a pub gig with a bunch of bands that we totally alienated everyone. It was sort of like, don't you agree, right? It was like almost like our first gig, more or less, when we went like Excelsior and Hoped and stuff. We were sort of playing with similar bands, and with Birds Robe, it was like, this is awesome.
We never once heard "Get the Fuck Out of My Local," which was really good and really interesting. That this scene that I wasn't aware existed. Yeah. I mean, from my previous metal band experience and not in being involved in any sort of experimental anything, and then our first or second gig, and holy shit, there's all these amazing experimental, non-pub-like bands, as you put it, like, and they're all fantastic, and they're there, and it was like a very welcoming experience, I think.
I think I became aware of Birds Robe attending a few shows, probably in my early 20s. So it was kind of in the heavy metal scene at the time, and I was enjoying that. I connected with that music. But I went along to a friend's concert who performed in Squat Club, and that was part of a kind of Birds Robe showcase. And I remember just being absolutely blown away by the acts there. I mean, it was such a diverse range of artists, a lot of different styles, but somehow there were some kind of, I guess, kind of core themes that brought all the artists together. I was impressed by the crowd. It was a really open, friendly crowd. And I was just energized and excited to see so many different styles under the one roof, and started to give me a few ideas about what I might want to do in the future.
Squat Club as a favourite of mine on Birds Robe, and I think a favourite of ours in the Crooked Fiddle Band, and Gordon and mine particularly within Crooked Fiddle, just because musically I find them a really interesting addition to that sort of extended structure post-rocky scene. They feature a bouzouki in some of their tunes, which is something that we use in Crooked Fiddle Band, and there's one bit
in one of their songs that we've been trying to replicate the magic of for years, and I think we've come up with some other good things along the way, but I think we'll keep trying to replicate the magic of M44 Beehive Cluster.
I'm not sure if I got the times right, but I'm pretty sure Birds Robe had just started around that time or a little bit before. So it definitely, as cliched as it sounds, it's sort of, there was this sense that there was this something new starting and that everyone was kind of on this sort of journey together. Oh, I used the word journey, didn't I?
Well, I thought you were going to say kind of cliche, didn't call it Evan's Robe, because like, I was there at the beginning, but yeah.
Yeah, I would like to take full credit, actually. So Evan's Robe, it's called Evan's Robe from now on.
Very good.
Squat Club approached us. That was I think that was like the first band that reached out to us. That was like a new band that were like, we want to be on a bill with you guys, or like for you guys. And I remember that feeling like a really immense moment because we listened to their demos and we were like, this is incredible. We met the dudes and they were really fun and we put a show on and yeah, pretty sure the first show we did for them was the Excelsior, maybe Annandale.
We recorded Corvus, our only album, it's probably sometime in 2008, 2009. So the whole thing was really short-lived. It was kind of like proper gigs at venues with Birds Robe sometime, I think, in 2008. But we did a bunch of them, like maybe 5 or 6 in half a year. Like it was quite a lot for us at the time. And then 2009, the start of 2009, we did our last couple of shows and I went overseas. And so did Josh. So sometime in that short period, we recorded Corvus, and that was really cool. Remember, we went to Magellan Observatory in Goulburn, which was this guy's like rural farm property, and they call it observatory. It was like he had a couple of telescopes, but it's super cool. Like we stayed, it was kind of like Airbnb before Airbnb even existed, you know. And we just stayed in this giant living room, just all on mattresses and there's a couple of beds and stuff. And we set up there with Chris Irvine, who did the engineering for it. And we just stayed and camped in this house for a couple of days, right? And recorded Corvus. A lot of the stuff on that album actually, especially the first song, Corvus, which is the one that is the most densely textured and layered, like Josh Head went in after and did a lot of the layering stuff after that. But the core tracks of that was all done at the observatory.
Yeah.
And that's where. And sorry, I just remember another thing as well. I totally forgot about this until I just started thinking about it. The reason that name Corvus and all the song titles like M44, Beehive Cluster, Reticulum, Serpens, it's all stuff to do with astronomy. Because while we were there, we were checking out the astronomy books, and it was like Corvus is a star cluster.
Running out of ideas to name songs.
Yeah, we're like,
we're at an observatory.
Yeah.
Why don't we name it after
Yeah.
star stuff? Hey, up here for
and
thinking.
also just like, prog,
Yeah,
stars,
stars.
star clusters.
Fucking
yeah, progressive
genius.
music. Yeah, we got to like space themes.
Oh.
How original.
Yeah. And we did it too.
Yeah,
A couple
we
of
did.
events
We
we
went
did
through
that.
it.
Yeah.
But we slightly shrouded it by having because Corvus is a double meaning. Corvus is also the crows, so that's why the picture is a crow, because obviously Corvus is the family of crows. So we're like, we're not going straight for the astronomy thing. It's too obvious.
It'll take people years to figure that out. Yeah.
And it didn't take very long. Yeah.
And so the songs on Corvus, how much of that was already in the works for a couple of years leading up to it, or was it sort of fresh stuff, just brain dump at the time and just sort of smash into a small period of time to get it out? Or get it recorded, I should say.
Yeah, it's a good question, because basically it's like half and half. Right?
Yeah.
Because two of the main songs on that album,
Beehive and Reticulum
were
are written.
the ones that we wrote
Yep.
first, and we played the balls out of them for
And
a
then
couple
we
of
did,
years.
and then the other two we did. What's that place where Lamp lives across from Central Station, where we used to live?
Hibernian House.
That's where we recorded the other two.
We recorded?
Yeah, we did. We recorded Serpens and we did at.
So we didn't record Serpents.
No, it wasn't down there. We had those two songs, and I think we were just having a jam and came up with this other song.
Yeah.
And then we recorded that at
yeah.
Lampy's.
Yeah.
At Lamp's place at Hibernia.
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting half split, isn't it? Because there's the two songs that we wrote first, and then I think it was almost like the next two songs, Serpens and Corvus, were like, here's a song written by Josh Head, right? Because he pretty much wrote Corvus and brought that to us. And Serpens was largely written by Lamp. And I remember, and we did a lot of it in Hibernian House, that's right. But I remember Lamp, after we had written, Beehive and Reticulum and brought that, we actually had obviously played that first. Lamp and the other guys came in and learnt that. I think Lamp's way of saying like, hey, I can write crazy shit too. He wrote Serpents. And I remember it was just like the most ridiculous set of numbers that like, it's way more, technical than the others in terms of like chopping all the time. And I remember just going, oh, freaking hell, Lamp, what is going on? It took us ages, me at least, took ages to like just play those rhythms. It was kind of like, 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2, like just 2 3 3 3 3 4 4 2 2 2 3 whatever. I don't know.
And there's me just going dun 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 dun, dun just trying to shuffle the fuck out of it and not working. But yeah.
And then Corvus, the song Corvus was Josh going, well, I'm going to do this crazy, weird, atmospheric, electronic thing, and we built the song kind of around that. And there was a couple of the main riffs he had written. So like the bare bones of both Serpents and Corvus were written by those guys, and then we kind of added our stuff to it. So it actually kind of made a nice contrast to album in a way. It was like, overall, it was a mix of all of our inputs, really wasn't it?
I listened to Corvus last week, actually. It still holds up so well. I think like, if anything comes from this documentary, I hope it's that more people will go back and listen to that album, because, very important album to me.
I'm not exactly sure what happened there, but I do know that, like, I'm pretty sure our last gig was 2009, and we'd obviously just recorded. We'd already, we'd recorded it, but obviously it hadn't been mixed and mastered and all that stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened there, but I'm guessing that's something to do with the fact that I went overseas and it was like we knew that we weren't going to. Oh, you know what? I remember now. I went overseas in 2009 and I came back in 2010 or 2011 just to launch the album. So I guess it was like the album just wasn't ready yet. By the time I left, and then by the time we had it mixed and mastered, we decided to launch it. So I came back from England and then we launched
That's right.
at Bald Face Stag, I believe. That was the launch. Do you remember that? It was the best show of your life, and you're going to tell me that you don't remember it.
Yeah, I do remember it.
Okay.
No,
I mean, that was the one where, speaking of throwing beer cups, I think it was Andrew Hall was pegging beer cups at you. You were doing Tim doing the moment where it's like sitting down bouzouki, because when you played guitar, you always stood up, but bouzouki you had to sit down because you didn't have a strap, right?
Yep.
And so you're sitting on the crate at the front, and there's Andrew Hall just like pegging beer cups.
Plastic cups, let's be clear, plastic cups.
Yeah, but there was beer in it, right? We were just copying
at some
it.
point, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a lot of things.
That's the launch. I mean, when you have a launch, you have to have beer cups.
I just had a whole bunch of Ebola flashbacks just then of just things just being thrown at various people.
Yeah, I guess in comparison, you probably had there were generally more.
And
there's more shit thrown at Ebola gigs.
And the people that were throwing the things were from that metal scene who just came over to the prog scene anyway. It was none of the experimental people throwing anything. It's just our four fuckwit friends who came over from the metal gigs I used to play, throwing things at each other.
That's right. I think that's why it sticks out, is because it sticks out in my memory. Because normally, like at a squat club gig or a lot of those gigs, it's like people of the very like. It's like, this is intellectual thinking music. And then it's like a couple of your metal dickhead drongo mates that you brought.
Who are now our friends as well.
No.
Which I love.
Love those guys. I love those guys.
They're great. They are great.
No, they're great. Dickheads.
Being at Herman's Bar on the 8th of January in 2009 and being like, this is the first time that Captain Kick-Ass and the Awesomes are going to watch Pirate play, and it's the first time that Pirate are going to see Squat Club play. Everyone would always stay and watch everyone else, but Herman's Bar was a bit out of the way, so maybe people would come late after eating dinner or whatever. And I'd be like, just make sure you watch the Squat Club set. And Tim's like, oh, mate, we're not going anywhere. Like, this night's been amazing. And then, get the email on Monday, like, oh, Mike, that was like the best lineup we've ever played on. What a shame it's Squat Club's last show. That was so good. And so then obviously when Squat Club come back a year later to relaunch their album and play at the Bald Face Stag, which is now called Crowbar, of course, on the lineup, you got to have Pirate and Captain Kick-Ass and the Awesomes and, everyone together again, and it's epic.
I think it was 2010, I had quite good tickets to go and see AC/DC live in concert, and I was very excited about that. And then Bird's Robe announced Squat Club's album launch. And I thought about it long and hard, but I decided to give away my AC/DC tickets and head on down to, I think it was the Annandale Hotel, to see Squat Club perform instead. And I'm still really happy with that decision. It was an incredible performance. I've seen nothing like it since. And I think that kind of, strength of talent, that uniqueness is what makes a Bird's Robe show. Bird's Robe, there was almost like an arms race for progressive music going on. There are a bunch of bands like Squat Club and Pirate and Captain Kick-Ass. I was playing in Serious Beak, and we were all trying our best to create quite complex, angular, progressive music. And so we would watch one another perform or release new albums, and then we'd get inspired and want to try and top that or take an influence from that, or at least reference what was going on in some way. So there was a lot of kind of bouncing off the creativity of different musicians in the scene.
Squat Club were pretty revolutionary at the time, I think, and that was that mixture. Like, yeah, Squat Club was serious business, and I suppose like Crooked Fiddle. I've always been a huge Crooked Fiddle band, and so yeah, I think there's those bands that really, yeah, it was interesting to come across like big shows and serious chops and just fucking music nerds that were making awesome stuff was great. So it was cool to find, like we didn't, I don't know, we sort of made up, we thought we were making math, well, I don't know, I thought I was making math rock and prog rock up as we went along because I just didn't pay attention to anything. So it was funny to then suddenly go like, oh, there's other people that are doing the same stuff and they even do it better and it's more complicated and the songs are longer. Oh my God, I'm gonna go back to work and figure out what to do now. So that was cool because it's like, I don't know, it was funny because we were very young when we started playing live. So I think there was always in the back of my mind to go, nobody's heard anything like this before. And then suddenly you're like, oh shit, there's like a whole scene that Mike's putting together with it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think Squat Club were massive to me and like even more so than Serious Beak, but Serious Beak were up there as well. But yeah, Squat Club stuff was crazy.
I think the one time I saw them, the one I really remember was at what was then the Bald Faced Stag. And I remember just going like, oh shit, this is like I stopped what I was doing and just watched the whole show and it was enthralling. And I know Tim Adderley, who's not here, but he's a huge Squat Club fan and I know he would just have the best things to say about them. They were one of those like unmissable bands for Tim. Like if they were playing, he'd be like, I'm watching that band. And that's a big compliment from him. I loved, I can't remember the guitarist's name, but he had like a slide.
Tim Brown?
Tim Brown, and it was so tasteful. And that actually inspired me a lot to use the slide in Sleep Makes Waves as well.
Both of them were an experience, okay? They were the kind of bands where you'd lose yourself for 45 minutes. Off the top of my head, I can't pick the first time I saw either of them. I'd have to look back through old gig posters.
Yeah, I don't think it's the first time, but I remember playing Herman's Bar with both of them, Squat Club and Pirate. I remember playing Lansdowne gigs with definitely Pirate and probably Squat Club as well.
Definitely Squat Club at the Lansdowne.
Yeah, you reckon? So there was those two there. I can remember playing Tone with both of them as well. I feel like we did quite a few sets that were the three of our bands plus
might have
more.
progressed to Serious Beak by the time I was at Tone.
The thing that I remember the most, I distinctly remember that Bald-Faced Stag gig where it was just like a stacked lineup of 5 amazing bands and just being so excited. And then it was definitely Captain Kickass on the bill, definitely Squat Club. I can't remember the names of all the other bands on the bill, but it was a Birds Robe gig. And at the end of the night, I just thought, this is amazing. And then Gordon and I went to Soundwave the next day and were thoroughly disappointed with all these international touring bands.
Yeah, it was such a
The
downer.
Birds Robe the night before was so much more where it was at musically. And that was definitely not my first experience with Birds Robe, but it was definitely when I felt like that was a scene that was worth being part of and paying attention to.
Yeah, I just remember it being easy, basically, as in like, which probably says more about like me taking situations for granted and not understanding there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff of the gigs, which I was like.
It also says something to their accommodating nature because as you can tell from talking to us, it's fucking hard sometimes. So, but for them, I just remember them being insanely helpful and never being fazed by anything. Or ever be, and their things weren't, challenging, I suppose. They were just, yeah, sure, you need help with that.
Yeah.
Cool. They're really easygoing people who work with both of them.
Yeah, even though we were working with them it was a short time.
It was.
Around, but like, it was always easy, wasn't it?
It was.
It felt like it was just, the flow was just like, oh, wait, there's some more gigs? Great, sure, what do you guys need? You need this? We have this. And, yeah. For me, probably Captain Kickass and the Awesomes. And Pirate. Loved Pirate.
Yeah.
And they were two bands that we often, like whenever we had our own sort of show, and Mike helped us put it on. He would say, "Who do you want to play?" And we were pretty much always Captain Kick-Ass and the Awesomes and Pirate as well.
Distinct lack of sax in modern bands. That's why I love Pirate, because I love sax. Yeah.
And actually, I loved Super Florence Jam in the early days as well, because that was also just unexpected. It was like they were doing this kind of like 70s vibe, but in this kind of modern, with this modern twist as well. It was like... King Crimson, but like, I don't know, it was cool. And we, because we weren't doing the kind of like, we didn't really have that kind of 70s edge. Ours was more the modern prog sort of thing. It was kind of...
Wait to hear some of the stuff I'm writing now. It's just, it's straight out, flat out 70s.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Mississippi Queen, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff.
Can you do a bit more of that? Is
yeah, later in the car. Over Nick Cave. Yeah.
Okay.
And We Lost the Sea would probably be not a band that we're involved with then, but a band that I love now. That those. Oh, and who else? Sleep Makes Waves. You know.
Yeah.
Which another Pirate connection because it's Tim from the drummer. Lampy's band, The Business. That was a Birds Robe band, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think for a couple of gigs. They never did a release or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they were involved somehow.
Yeah.
The Lamp and...
Yeah, I think that was on one of the
Alon.
bills. Yeah, that was the Business, but B-Z-N-Z-Z. Is that what it was?
Yep, Alon, the best Rogue Traders drummer ever.
That's right, he was in a Rogue Traders video clip. Do
Yeah.
you remember the Rogue Traders band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take me downtown, that's
Right,
where
yes,
I want to
there was
go.
a lot of them. There were many Rogue Trader CDs in many op shops.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that one with that neighbour's career didn't quite work out for you, and neither did the music career. Oh well, biscuits. Most of the Lansdowne gigs that we ever played or went and saw, I remember Pirate particularly, one gig were just amazing at one particular gig.
It definitely floored us. It was like one of those bands that, you know, pretty rare, where you actually like going, what?
The jam
What
aspect,
are they doing? What is that?
Yeah.
They were pretty...
The energy, the
Yeah.
the musicianship, like they were just phenomenal.
Yeah. For me, probably, I think it was because there was a bunch of Feather Fests that Mike did.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but I think the first one was like one of our last gigs, and one of the reasons I think Mike put it on was partly as my kind of like, it was like a farewell gig for me in a way. I know it sounds like I'm taking credit for this gig, but
Annandale. Yeah, right.
And Mike was, you know, tolerating enough to like put on like the 4 bands that I was playing at the time. But I remember that being like amazing because it was like, apart from being exhausted from playing like 4 gigs, but it was just a really nice vibe, and all of those, we basically just requested, like, I think, because it was all through the afternoons, there must have been like 10 bands playing or something, but I think we just said to Mike, you know, we want this band to play and this band, and he's like, I'll make it happen for you guys, yeah. And so it was really cool. And there was some extra bands that played, if you remember, like Ankle Pants played, and
that's right, yeah.
And a couple of other bands that we had basically, I think, said, oh, it's our last gig, can we get these other bands to play? And it was cool because Mike was just like, yep, make it happen. So yeah, that was awesome. Featherfest, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it was never really. It was never, it definitely wasn't an official. This is the end of the band, because we always knew that I think I was going to try to come back to launch the album. I think that was the thing, and also I knew that I was going to be in the UK for like about 4 or 5 years. So I think we were always like, this is not the definite end of the band, but it's like, you know what I mean. Who knows what happens after a few years?
There was no grand kicking of the right or ever. I'm out of here. It was just left open for, because we also had. I was already doing other bands. So was Lamp was busy.
Josh on Beak at that time.
Beak was starting to. Beak was starting.
Post Ebola.
It was post Ebola, but it was also I was starting to do. Right for things for that as well.
You were finally starting to do something interesting with your life.
Correct. Yes, finally, and it took for you to go overseas for me to finally do it. So thanks, pal.
Yeah, that's good. I did it for you.
And then Josh had ankle pains. He had that happening. So it was never.
Yeah.
It was just never an official discussion, but we'll get to it when we.
It was
get to it when we get to it, and when you come back. And then we did.
Yeah, you're right. It was like there was just so much happening at the time musically.
There was.
Between all of us and the scene that. It was like, oh man, this sucks. It's like, it wasn't a great thing that I was going overseas. It was sort of like we just had this. I mean, it was great for other reasons. Don't tell Roz that. It was good for my. Anyway.
I went supported my wife. That was the worst thing I ever did.
But yeah, it was like there was so much going on, and it was kind of a bit. That was one shitty aspect of it. It was like, oh, we just gained all this momentum, and then it was like, oh, sorry guys, but. It's like, I don't think we can do the band anymore, at least for now. But yeah, it was always a thing. I think we were like, we left on such good terms and on such a high from such great gigs that I think none of us thought like, oh, I don't want to do that again. So it was always on the cards. And in actual fact, we did, right? So in 2010, we did the launch. And then I think it was in basically nothing then happened for years because I was just overseas and I didn't come back again. But then in 2015, I think it was, when I did finally move back, we did our reunion show, the last show.
Was that where we did it?
It was actually our very last show.
Which is at...
it was at Herman's.
Herman's, that's right, yeah.
Which is also, I have a lot of fond memories for Herman's because we did maybe 2 or 3 there with Mike, helped us out, Mike and Alex. Booked some shows there.
And was this an intentional last show? Like at the time you went, this will be our last show, or it just happened to be the last show?
So I think maybe at that point, it's a good question. I think maybe at that point we kind of felt like it was maybe coming to the end a bit, because we'd had such a break for years prior to that. I think it was kind of like, it definitely didn't feel. I think by that stage we're getting a bit older and we're doing different things and we got different jobs and whatever. So we never said this is our last show, but I think we were kind of like, we're going to do one show and we'll see what happens, And actually it was awesome, if you remember, that was the gig that we came back and Josh now had this, after him being overseas and, learning all sorts of weird instruments, he had this weird, what's it called? It's a type of dulcimer, like a dulcimer stringed, like tabletop instrument type thing. But it's not a dulcimer, I forgot what it's called. It's one of those things. But we basically come back together to do this one last gig, and we actually wrote a new song for that as well. So that was the last thing we wrote.
Because we played that.
We did. Yeah. That was the gig. So we did.
That was Young Guns too.
Yes, and Lampy wanted us to make sure we mentioned that a lot of our songs' working titles were based on either like old Emilio Estevez 90s movies or
Christian Slater.
So I'll just quickly mention that our working titles for the Corvus songs, this is very important, this is probably the most important thing, is one of them was called Gleaming the Cube. The other one was called Cuffs, which is with a K, if anyone remembers that movie.
Lampy is quite the wizard at naming those names.
He is. And then the new song in 2015 that and that was interesting because I'd come back from overseas maybe a month before this gig, just for us to to rehearse this. Is that what happened? I can't quite remember. Maybe it was like a year. I can't remember. Anyway, there was some period of time before our last gig, not that long, where we wrote and recorded this new 20-minute song, which was going to be an EP. We played it live with a bunch of the classics, Beehive, Reticulum.
The classics.
The classics. The kind of songs you hear on 2WSFM, obviously, is what I'm talking about. And then we had this new EP, which was like a 15, 20-minute song, and it never got released. It never and I still...
It still sits there.
It still sits there, and I still from time to time go, we should work on it and put it out, but just haven't got around to it yet. But maybe one day.
Which can also to answer like the last part of the future question. Yeah, I would get back into it. It's just our schedules at the moment are just insane with work, kids. So it's certainly not completely shut. It just we need the time to find the keys again and then open up the door.
Yeah.
And then I'd love to do it again.
He means metaphorically, by the way, because like we know where the stuff is. It's not locked up behind.
You have still got Lachlan's key, right? That he gave you about 45 minutes ago at the pub. You haven't lost it.
That's literally. I
literally don't lose that key because he needs that for his locker of music instruments. Yeah.
Should we talk about the key a bit more on the?
It's an essential part of the story, Andy.
But with the EP, yeah. So as Tim was saying, we never closed the book on that. We recorded it at what was it called, man?
That's right.
Is it One Flight Up? No, that's somewhere else where I recorded. Hang on. Oh man.
Somewhere in Redfern, I remember.
It was
it was
like a. That's why I thought it was one. Maybe it was One Flight Up. No.
I can't remember what it was called, but I remember I remember the view
it was
being
in the same building as that. Anyway, I'll remember.
Somewhere in Redfern,
I'll remember later. But yeah, recorded this EP, and I think it was great, man. Like it was kind of like all of the bits of Corvus that I think were interesting, kind of mashed into this like 15-minute song.
Very Serpents-esque, flowing, random.
Yeah, but it had a lot of the really dynamic, slow build-up stuff as well, with weird rhythm. Like it had all the classic, Squat Club stuff. It's been long enough now. I can call it classic, right? Or does that imply that it's good?
There's no one here to argue with you regarding that point.
Like no one's heard of it. No one gives a shit.
Sure.
Yeah.
14 people out there going, yeah, it's a classic.
Says the guy in the band.
Yeah.
It's classic. Classic
part of the
material.
14. It's minus us to it's 12. But anyway,
yeah. But yeah, there have actually been a few times where we've got together to re-release, to release it, to work on it, to get it up to scratch, and just various things have fallen through. And it's interesting because now I think maybe a year or two ago, we sort of looked at it again, if you remember.
We did, yeah.
We talked again. We're like, should we put this thing out? But it needs work. It needs maybe some more overdubbing, some more blah blah blah. And it's a bit weird because it's sort of like I think we still kind of connect to it, and we're still kind of proud of it in a lot of ways of what the parts, but it also doesn't quite represent. I think we all realized that it didn't quite represent where our heads are at musically now. Like we've sort of moved away from that a little bit. Like if we got together now and wrote music, it wouldn't really be like that. So it feels weird to kind of currently be working on something and release something that doesn't quite represent where we are now. But at the same time, I would also be up for working on it. And,
definitely, because then at least it can be done, and we can move on and do the next. I'm sure
next thing. Oh, there is going to be a next thing.
There will be a next thing at some point. There has to be a next thing. Like the four of us, I think, really enjoyed each other's company, and also enjoyed, musically.
Oh, good.
And conversation wise. Yeah, everyone gets along.
So is that an official proposition? We're getting the band back together?
No.
Oh, you put him on the spot like that.
Yeah, I know.
Crumbles.
Especially with Mike in the room going, oh, what? Yeah, come on.
He just starts throwing cash at us. Yeah. Come on, guys, do it.
That wouldn't take much cash.
But, the funny thing is, Tim is sort of like, I feel like maybe in the last couple of years, like you're more in a position now where you possibly could do a bit more music than you could have, right? Like a number of years ago.
Headspace,
right?
Definitely. I went through some things a few years ago that I kind of stopped playing music just because I had my own things to sort out, and I'm much more on top of it now. So I'm on top of it, but then my work is just, more insane. So therefore, it doesn't quite line up now with kids and everything. But, at some point it will. It will. I'm sure it will.
Yeah. So, and even today when we all four of us don't, talk in the same sort of, group very often. But today we were on the thread, and it was interesting because I think you said, it's like, we should have a jam soon, which is kind of funny. The old like, we should get together and
we should
have a jam.
Yeah.
But everyone
went
seems pretty keen. So
we'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see. Well, I know bloody Lachlan, he's got my bouzouki and, quotes, I can't remember what band, it was like Akadaka or Gunners or something he was meant to go and see, and he didn't go and see it because he came to one of our bald-faced stag gigs, and when I'm so glad I
Mate.
missed. I'm sure it was Akka. I'm sure it was
That
them.
pretty much sums up influence. If you
Yeah.
are going to turn down Akadaka
Yeah,
for Squat
to
Club.
a Squat Club gig, and it changed his life apparently, and introduced him to this whole other scene. So I know definitely we've influenced him.
And so Lachlan went on to do. Well, how did he already start at that time? I don't know. Artist Catharsis Records, which I'm kind of like, a lot of the stuff that I release today, Lachlan supports a lot of my music, and I'm in a band with Lachlan Hashashin as well. But he's often said to us that it was a big influence for him, which is cool.
That's
I mean,
nice.
yeah, and it's true that for such a short time that we were together, like it always surprised me. There were like a number of people who would be like, dude, that album is awesome, or the show was great. And I was kind of shocked by it, I guess, but like...
Wasn't there a uni paper written about beehive clusters? Someone actually did...
apparently someone did like an academic article,
We'll
deconstruct
Google that
it.
and we'll come back and talk about it. We could have been so much more prepared for this and actually gone and done that. I forgot about that, but yeah.
Adrian from Space Project has used Squat Club material in his classes.
Oh!
He like
Has he?
lectures on it and like gets the students to like deconstruct it for like musicology and stuff.
Right.
Wow, cool.
And he's still like we interviewed them a couple of weeks ago. He's still doing it.
Really? Yeah. Wow, that's our legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice, It's nice that there are a handful of people, that have said that to us. They're like, dude, those shows were amazing, and it's like, cool. I mean, I don't think we ever expected it. But
No,
it's just
definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to seem. I guess it's also just like go out on a high is a nice thing in a way. It's kind of like we did short and a lot of stuff, and it was really cool, and we were part of that energy, and then we just like bang, we finish, and maybe it wouldn't have been as impactful if we just kind of like
If we did
kept flogging a freaking dead
If we did
horse,
release that shuffle album that we were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's just given it away. The latest EP, it's just Blues
We were
Shuffle,
coming back
just
with a Blues Shuffle album.
Blues Shuffle album, and that's why
Mike's already picking up his notes, going, "No, I'll have them back. Thanks.
Yeah.
You no longer get the money that you were. I was going to offer you."
Blues Shuffle? Do we have any Blues Shuffle and Blues? No, actually, I think that'll work well. There we go. Tick.
Yeah.
I'm making a
experimental blues album.
Oh, there's nothing.
There's nothing experimental about
It's
Shuffle.
the most mediocre, generic, middle of the road Blues Shuffle.
Yeah. With just a
20,
with
29.
with a
It'll be
splash of Jan Terry in there, just a little sprinkle,
Another big influence, Jan Terry.
Yeah.
Jordan Paris.
Make sure
huge
if
influence.
Yeah.
If this ends up on the documentary, make sure.
I wonder if we'll ever
you check it out.
I wonder if we'll ever influence Jordan Paris because he's done it to us, and to sort of repay
the full circle.
The full circle,
That would be the ultimate.
Yeah.
That would be the ultimate legacy. Yeah.
I'm Jordan Paris. I just remember that clip in my mind of just that video. I wonder if you can still find it.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah,
Is that something you guys could cut to in a documentary? Could you cut to another another old YouTube clip of some?
I think all there's out there is like his Australia's Got Talent.
Okay, we can find.
It's like a promo video of his that he did.
I've heard about.
Have you seen?
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
They say the neon lights bright all broken. G'day there, my name's Jordan Paris. They say there's always magic in the air. The music I love is R&B, soul, and gospel. Ooh yeah, I'm colourful. Oh yeah, baby, I'm energised. I'm ready to rock and roll.
There's very few, photos of us in the out, and you might have come across this. There's like this one and it's taken from a Jordan Paris picture, and it's like us. Our faces photoshopped on Jordan multiple Jordan Parises, and it's like these weird coloured suits and like this bright,
which he wears in that promo.
In the promo,
yeah,
and it's like a giant headband, green headband, this green suit, and he's doing all these like amazing poses for the camera. Like there's one on a ladder. Do you remember this one? He's just holding a ladder, and he's obviously just standing there next to the ladder like this. And there's another one where he's got his shirt off, and there's just a fan in front of him. It's just blowing. So anyway, we used all these photos for our promotional stuff, and that was clearly a good decision to make for our professional contribution.
I love it. Well,
Squat Club.
Yeah, I was going to say
Squat Club.
Club,
We're
yeah.
probably like
Squat Club,
favourite back in the day, and I was so devastated when they decided to not play. It wasn't even they split up; they just decided to not play anymore because they all went in different Richard Ferret, whatever his name is, and went over to Europe. But that was yeah, I learned so much off them.
Yeah, definitely. Squat Club is one of those bands. As a drummer, I was listening to them going, how can they possibly play that well and so tightly, gig after gig. We played a number of shows with them, on the same bill, and yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, so tight, so impressive.
The ironic thing is that drummer really liked you.
Why is that ironic? Because he's terrible. Isn't my
Yeah, he's shit.
That's accurate. No, just simple, repetitive, and trying not to get caught out. That's what I was trying to do, playing it safe, really. So
reflected glory, something like that. Yeah, Squat Club for me. Yeah, actually, I'm blown away by their music. I brought into some of my university teaching as well. The way that they would manipulate rhythm was such a good teaching tool.
Speaking of mind-blowing bands, yet another. There was, I think, both of our close second favorite bands.
I'm going to go with first for me.
First, okay. Yeah, amazing, interesting, intricate, weird time signatures, extremely long songs, some of them, but always in a musical way. Very interesting, like exciting, yeah, amazing band.
And
again, surely they should be more famous than
someone's going to discover that EP.
Pelican or something. I'm not nothing against Pelican, but
that Corvus EP. Also, I was going to just add that I think one of the magic things about Squat Club that I hadn't really heard before was that this sort of the proggy side of post rock with the sort of intricate mathy rhythms. I'd never heard a band go so quiet with those rhythms. Yeah. As sort of like there's this sort of real macho sort of out loud everything louder than everything else kind of thing sometimes, and Squat Club were the first time I'd heard a band in our scene just play these intricate rhythms as quietly as possible.
Artist Catharsis Records.
Yeah, so that's run by our good friend
God,
Lachlan
Lazar.
Dale.
Mm.
Loza, Lacquer, Lacquer
Lazar, yeah,
Dazzos.
Again,
Artist Catharsis
just another individual that, apart from being a sensationally good human, is someone that just supports, very similar to Mike, just supports those artists that don't quite fit the mold of what most people would want to promote. That's where the Lachlan and the Mikes come in of the world, and he does a sensational job at doing it, and has like a hand in refugee and human rights movements and things, and he's just a phenomenally good human.
Yeah, and just it's kind of remarkable, like as Tim said, like both Mike and Lachlan similar in that sense that they just done so much for experimental progressive sort of music in Sydney, and and outside of that too. So both really grateful to both of them. Yeah, just done awesome stuff throughout the years.
And can kick a footy.
And they can both kick a footy.
His
well.
old Newington Boys crew days.
Right.
You know that? He was a rower.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. There you go. You're really given the hot goss on
wow.
the rowing goss.
Yeah.
I think this might have to go onto the bonus disc. The one where it's all just rowing facts.
These are the
about
things that
rowing.
were of no use at all. Here's the rest of the useless information that we have in Lachlan's rowing career.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. This will be good. We're recording, right? Okay.
Session,
yeah, sick blokes, top A. Bring that shit into my local.
Yeah, well, Session's a band that came out of, it was post Squat Club, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it was interesting because Lachlan came to me. He was originally playing with the drummer, with Chegs, who was the drummer in, what was he playing at the time?
Chegs was the drummer out of, I should know this.
Fat Guy Wears Mystic Wolf Shirt. Great band name.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, Chegs is a phenomenal drummer who's now playing in Pliny, right?
And the Fat Guy one, that's the Tony Hawk connection there too, isn't it? Because he's the singer for that
the
band.
Tony
Different
Hawk's
one. This
cover band
which is kind of how we know Dawsey too. It must be that Central Coast connection.
Yeah,
has to be. Yeah.
Sydney Coast Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wyong for life.
But who were we talking about again? Who was the band? Oh, Hashashin. Yeah. Hashashin. I just wanted to test you.
Yeah.
Hashashin. I have a long history of being in bands that are really hard to pronounce. Like, I think I've been in one band that was easy to pronounce.
Which was what?
Actually, no.
I
think Squat Club is the
easiest one, yeah, for sure.
It's like the Mabobs. What the what? The fucking what? Hashashin Sherlow.
Hazza and the boys.
But yeah, Hashashin basically came from, it was post Squat Club and
post Beak as well.
Post Beak, so after Serious Beak kind of fell apart as well. Lachlan got a bouzouki from you, right? It's the same bouzouki.
It's the same bouzouki,
right?
yeah.
Same bouzouki that was used in Squat Club, and he was playing with Chegs originally, and they were doing a bunch of stuff. Then I think because Chegs is so busy with various other projects, he couldn't do it anymore. Lachlan showed me, and he was like, oh, doing some proggy bouzouki stuff like you did with Squat Club. Are you interested in playing? I was like, sure. And then actually that was, like almost 10 years ago now, I think. About 10 years ago, because we actually did our 10-year anniversary show the other month. So that was just another thing that came out of
so Cam from 5 Star Prison Cell, wasn't it?
Cam from 5 Star Prison Cell.
Was in there as well?
Yeah.
From the very beginning?
No. Yeah.
Who was in there from the
beginning?
beginning?
No, me and Lachlan were playing for a little while, but he came on soon after.
Don't
actually remember how that happened, but he moved to Sydney, and then it just kind of seemed like an obvious fit. He was moved to Sydney. He was looking for another band, and that was it. Yeah.
Not Birds Robe related, but 5 Star Prison Cell.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That takes me back.
Like when you're reversing. Sorry.
Yes. Very good.
There hasn't been enough shitty dad jokes.
I've
done pretty well to hold it all in.
Been a little bit quiet on the dad joke front.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Mike's been a bit quiet.
All right, we could try to turn it up in the last couple of questions.
Go.
So, Serious Beak is the next one.
Oh yeah, all right. No.
He's not necessarily asking for your opinion.
Oh, is he?
On the subjective quality of
Oh,
the
okay. Well,
bands.
what did you think of Series
Oh,
B?
well, Series B was amazing. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, you go.
Yeah, it's all right, mate.
Those other guys, you should have got rid of those guys. No, Series B were like, yeah, ridiculous. It was always ridiculous. You know, so just
The most-
again, one of the bands, like kind of like seeing. I remember like Pirate, and there's a bunch of bands like that where it was always just like, and the same feeling that I get now if I ever see instrumental adjective. It's like I'm laughing, like because it's kind of so ridiculous, like in a good way. You know, it's like this is awesome, but what is happening?
Yeah.
What is it? What is even going on? It's kind of like that. So yeah, Series B was really cool.
Just 4 blokes having a good time. I miss. Again, a band that I would not close the door on doing something again with those guys. It's just the stars. Our schedules have to realign again. But I'd be very interested to write music like that again with my different frame of mind. I know Lachlan was the same. So you wouldn't be interested in thinking the same or feeling the same. But I wonder what would happen if the 4 of us got in a room again. It'd be interesting. I wonder.
Well, you guys weren't you supposed to do a reunion gig a
We
couple
were,
of years
and
ago
then
or something?
it
And
was
then
COVID. COVID killed it.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. Oh well, the ball was in
Yeah,
motion.
we'll see.
Pick it up again. Give it a little kick.
See when
Squat Club, Series B, back together, right? Super Florence Jam. Let's get all the old bands back together. But we're gonna play. Yeah, hum up some some motivation for the good old times. We need visual evidence, not just oral and. Oh, we already have visual evidence. It's on video, right?
Everyone say Squat Club album 2.
Oh,
no.
3, 2, 1. Squat Club album 17.
We're gonna do the 17th one before we do the second one.
We'll get there.
Just skip straight to that. No, it's great hearing you guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us. It was nice for us to dig up some memories from the past.
Hi, I'm going to talk you through some of the Nappy Lady cloth nappy accessories that are available. I'm going to start with something called washable wipes. And these are just like little mini flannels, and you use these instead of using disposable wipes or instead of cotton wool. They're very simple to use. I keep mine in a Tupperware container and keep them wet, so they're just as convenient as disposable wipes. They haven't got to be wringing wet, just enough so that if you squeezed it really hard you'd get 1 or 2 drops out of them. And I love washable wipes for several reasons. Firstly, financially, they will save you an absolute fortune, virtually enough to pay for your entire cloth nappy system. And if you imagine disposable wipes easily costing £2 a packet, you can use these in the herbal version or natural disposable wipes, they're even a little bit more. And with a small baby, you're going to be needing wipes for easily 2, 2.5, even 3 years. And just imagine if you only use the washable wipes just to replace 1 packet, that's easy, about £250. So financially, it's a huge saving. Also, another fantastic thing about them is it puts you in control of what you clean baby skin with. Rather than using disposable wipes that's got chemical treatment, you can usually just use them with plain water, so just like midwives recommend doing in you can use washable wipes with your and you can also add things in there to make your own recipes. When my boys were very small, they had very dry skin, so I great in terms of cost saving and chemicals. They're just so simple to use. When I go out, you could still use disposable wipes, but I actually take them with me. I just take a smaller Tupperware tub and just take a couple with me going out for the day, so still just as convenient. Other great thing about them is how much quicker they clean baby up. Rather than a disposable wipe that's quite smeary, because they've got fibres, so they're just like little flannels, because they've got fibres, it literally just grabs hold of the poo. And just to compare, you see how smooth a disposable wipe is to the fabric on the washable one. Disposable wipes really do just sort of smear poo around, whereas a washable wipe grabs it, so it's much quicker to clean up. When I'm changing my son's bottom, if you've got to have a poo nappy, I only need 2 washable wipes and it's done. Just show you, when I first started using these, I thought, they're going to be covered in loads and loads of poo, it's going to be in the bucket, but it's not, because the same as when you use a disposable nappy, when you change them, it needs the front of the nappy like the left, so it's really not going to use the front to get the majority of the skin, and then so actually they're not covering lots of pools either. Once you've got rid of it, so very simple to use. You don't need to dry them. Literally as soon as mine come out of the washing machine and wash, I just put them back in the Tupperware container. They don't have to worry about them going stagnant so quickly. I put them in 36 and that's enough for the they can even sort of every couple of days all freshened up, so they're great. Some other fantastic accessories that I couldn't do without is my bag. It's a waterproof bag. So it's the same fabric as the wraps, so waterproof to keep all the dirty hands inside. Also throw my wipes in here, any muslins and any washable liners. When we go out, if I'm just going out to playgroup, you can literally just sort of fold it up if it's only got the sort of one nappy in there, and when I come home I would empty that into the nappy bucket. Or if we go away for the weekend, I literally just take the bag, throw it all in there, fill it up. It holds about sort of 12 large size nappies, so there's a good amount of nappies go in there. And when I come back, I literally just open up the drawstring, just like the laundry mesh, right straight in the machine, so again you've not got to handle the nappies. You don't have any smells because tight drawstring keeps everything in there. Very quick to dry, about sort of 15 minutes on the naira really. If baby's going to the nursery, you recommend to have 2 of these so you've got them ready to rotate them. Other fantastic accessories are the Nappy Lady famous change mat. This really is a wonderful product and I couldn't be without it. It's very clever. It's fabric on both sides, so if you use it either side, it has a waterproof membrane through the middle. So any liquid that gets spilled on one side is not going to go through to the other. I use mine for a whole variety of things. And to start with the change mat. So when you put babies onto those little plastic pads, when they're open the whole plastic tends to shock them and they end up bleeding when they're not so my boys are kind of using the muslin to try and catch it, but with girls it's run straight down the back. So not only have you got to change the mat, you run down the plastic mat, those change mat, any good high up the waist and comes quite far down the legs. It kind of looks a bit like old-fashioned bloomers. I thought the baby, my son, was going to look very strange when he first went swimming until all the other babies were wearing them. They're made of neoprene, very snug fit. The reason the swim classes insist on them is they keep everything in there. I mean, if baby wears, it will come through the nappy, but that's what the chlorine is in the water for. But poo, it will keep them inside. Some swim classes insist you do something called double nappy, which is where you've got the happy nappy on the outside and another nappy on the inside. That second nappy doesn't have to be a disposable swim nappy, and up until about 4 years ago, disposable swim nappies didn't exist. Everyone wore traditional swim pants. These are the Mothery swim pants. Just like the Mothery wraps, they've got pockets out the inside. These are
bonus items to play with. So first of all, very useful to have different types of liners for your nappy. So there are disposable ones and there's fleece ones. I like the fleece one in my Little Lamb bamboo nappy because it keeps baby's bum dry. information on how to use liners and what they're there for is included in your Nappy Lady Guide to Reusable Nappies. This has any questions that you might have. This hopefully will answer them, but I'd also recommend going to the website and reading help you out. So that is included in your kit. Next are reusable wipes. Now reusable wipes are amazing. They clean so well. They can be used for hands and faces as well as nappy changing. So it's up to you how you choose to use these. We have a Top Spots one, which is incredibly soft, quite slim, and really lovely on baby's delicate skin. We also have a cheeky wipe, which is more of a terry feel. I love these for changing bottoms. They're very, very, very popular because they perform well and they tend to last well too. So there's those, and also you may want to try Pockets cloth wipe solution. Now this is lovely.
I'm talking to you about cloth nappies because I'm an expert and I have friends who are experts too. We all use cloth nappies. There are all sorts of different types and we experts say there's no need to guess to get it right. The Nappy Lady will help your mums find the right nappy, the one which suits baby's bottom as well as mum's purse. The Nappy Lady supplies only quality cloth nappies from a wide range of manufacturers. The experts all agree the Nappy Lady is the one to see. thenappylady.co.uk